this video I'm going to drill out a grub screw. To avoid any confusion, here are some pictures of grub screws in use. There are quite literally thousands of grub screws in the two chemical plants where I used to work. In some countries they might not call these grub screws, they might call them something else, but in the UK we call these grub screws. This is a large motor with a pulley attached to the end. This uses a taper bush to hold the pulley in position, which uses grub screws to hold it in position. This spider or jaw coupling is also held in position using taper bushes and grub screws. These flange bearings are held in position using two grub screws. Every single one of these wheels is held in position using taper lock bushes and grub screws. I have to say that I have never had to drill out any grub screw on any taper bush, but I'm just showing examples of where they are used in industry. This is a stainless steel shaft which is from a machine that is in a wet environment. All of the bearings are held in position using grub screws, as are the helical gears. I have had to drill out grub screws on machines like this in order to remove the bearings or the helical gears. I have also had to drill out stainless steel grub screws in specialist glass washing machines. These grub screws often get stripped, meaning that the Allen key will no longer undo the grub screw. When this happens, the only thing you can do is drill it out in situation. For all the people that have commented on previous videos saying it's easy on the bench, try doing it in situ, where there is no room and you're laid down on your front in a hot and noisy environment. Well, I have done that, but today I'm going to drill the grub screw out on the bench. So this is the pillow block bearing. That's the grub screw. This is a stainless steel shaft. Obviously we had to cut the shaft to get this out of the machine because we couldn't undo the grub screw. So we've got one grub screw there, which I think we can undo. That one's come undone easily. I'll actually just remove the grub screw, then you can take a look at it. You can see that grub screws like this tend to have like a serrated edge on the end so that it grips the shaft. So that's it, it's only a very small grub screw. To drill out the grub screw, I'm going to use two different sized Cobalt drill bits. You have virtually no chance of using a standard HSS drill bit on hard materials like this. It really does struggle. So if you take a look inside of the grub screw, you'll see that it's got flat edges on there. And what tends to happen is when you try to drill that out with the correct sized drill bit like that, it actually takes the flats off the drill bit almost immediately. What I like to do is use a larger drill bit first, and that's going to drill out part of the grub screw, and it will also drill the stainless steel part of the bearing too. So what I'm going to do in this example is I'm going to drill as far as I can using this larger drill bit, because a larger drill bit like that is also stronger, so there's less chance of it breaking. And once I get so far, I'm going to swap that over and I'll continue to drill the remainder of the grub screw out using the smaller drill bit, which I think is about 4.5mm. If you take a look at the end of the grub screw, we only need to get that serrated bit off. As soon as you drill off that serrated bit, the grub screw will release and it will no longer hold the shaft, and we'll be able to get the bearing off. I'll just try this one, and no, as you can see, that is completely rounded off. Just no way we're going to be able to grip that to remove it. You can actually try to get these out using a small screw extractor, but because these are very shallow, there's virtually no chance at all of that working. So the only option in most cases like this is to drill them out. You will notice that on the bearing housing there is actually an indentation in the top there, and that enables you to get your Allen key or your hex key in to tighten or loosen the two grub screws. Unfortunately my better drill is in the back of the van because I'm on a large job at the minute, so I'm just going to use this small 12-volt drill that I have lying around the workshop. So we're going to put that onto a slow speed, and obviously we're going to put a pair of safety glasses on. Obviously we don't want to damage the drill bit, so we're going to use some cutting paste. So I'm simply going to dip the end of the drill bit into the cutting paste. I always find that when you're drilling out a grub screw, it's actually better if you can have the drill rotating before you touch the grub screw. And you can hear that that is quite tough. We're actually trying to drill through the steel and the stainless steel there at the same time, so it is quite difficult. So I'm just going to clean the end of the drill bit and put some more paste on. You'll notice that the bits are coming off in very small pieces. That's because the steel is very tough. If that was mild steel, you'd get long spiral pieces coming off, but because it's so tough, it only comes off in very small pieces like that. What you have to be careful of is work hardening the stainless. So I've now got through so far. I'm now going to remove the large drill bit and I'm going to continue with the smaller drill bit. You'll notice that I'm going at a very slow speed. Again, I'll just clean the swarf off from the end of the drill bit and put some more cutting paste on. It is important when you're doing something like this that you don't try and rush it. It is important to take your time, because the last thing you want to do is break a drill bit, especially a Cobalt one. Obviously, if you lay it on your front and you're trying to do this in a machine, it's a lot harder than this. This can be a very difficult job to do. Now I'm just going to give that a clean up. So that's what it looks like in the actual hole where the grub screw is. And you can see that we've almost got it out. There's only a little bit left in that we need to get out now. You should be able to see that. It's actually taken the edge off the drill bit, so it's no longer cutting as it should do. Now you can regrind these on a grinder if you've got the skill to do that, but I prefer just giving it a slight file using a diamond tipped file. That will often sharpen it enough so that you can continue drilling. I've just stood the drill bit up in the vise and now I've got a diamond tipped file, and these are quite literally about 8 to 10 pounds. They are absolutely brilliant. They will file anything that is tough. So all I need to do with that is look at the edge I'm not trying to change the angle of the cutting edge or anything. I'm simply going to give it a couple of files in a forward direction to resharpen the bit. And just by doing that, that'll actually make the drill bit start cutting again, and we'll be able to drill out the grub screw. So again, I've got the cutting paste on the end. We've actually got the grub screw drilled through there, and we're actually dimpling the stainless steel shaft. You can see in there that we've actually started to drill the shaft. The hard grub screw is no longer there. We've just got a few threads that are left. I'm just going to use a piece of steel and a hammer, get that behind the bearing and just tap that. We've just got a bit of a burr on the end of the shaft. Let's give that a tap. So we can simply take the insert out of there and get a new bearing insert, and we can reuse the pillar block. I know it's a bit rusty, but it's still perfectly okay, just a bit of surface rust. So a Cobalt drill bit like that will work on most grub screws. If you work hard in it, you're really going to struggle, and you will probably have to use a solid carbide bit in order to drill out the grub screw.